So, A Castle for Christmas is a Netflix Christmas romance film. An American writer comes to Scotland, meets the handsome Duke, and they fall in love at Christmas time. A nice little story, but these things never happen in real life, right? As a kid, I spent a whole lot of time on the estate for golf games, garden parties, and Christmas celebrations, and the movie may be less far-fetched than you'd think. The story follows Sophie Brown, played by Brooke Shields, a best-selling author whose newest book has enraged the fans. She killed a character people felt attached to, they felt he got done dirty, and people got real mad. She travels to Scotland to escape her readers and to reconnect with her roots at Dundunbar Castle. And there she meets Miles, played by Carrie Elways, the 12th Duke of Dunbar. With her opening meet cute, we see her super obvious setup. Like, this is some real basic romance stuff. No waiting or wondering who the couple is.
Hamish, no! Hamish, no!
This is by the numbers, people, and that's actually part of its charm. Sophie heads to the castle where she gets a tour from her handsome male protagonist, and she loves the castle. She feels a connection to the place, and hearing that it's for sale, decides that she's going to stay. And so she meets with the Duke, who turns out to be our handsome man from earlier.
Sophie Brown, Miles Dunbar.
You're the royal arse?
You're the buyer.
He let me think he worked here.
He reluctantly agrees to sell to her, under the condition that she agrees to live with him for the 90 days leading up to Christmas. He hopes he can get her to back out of the deal, and use her deposit to make ends meet. So he tries to make her stay unpleasant, putting her in the worst room and generally being a grouch. I was kind of hoping he would try to scare her away with a bedsheet ghost like some sort of Scooby-Doo villain, but sadly no. But Sophie will not be discouraged, and Miles begins to soften.
If you are trying to discourage me, a couple of bats in the attic are not going to do it.
I will not be discouraged, said Emma. I will get what I came.
They end up getting along and have a lovely day together, touring the estate and seeing the local area. Sophie is staying at the Castle Inn, where she's made friends with the Knitting Club, a neat little group of ancillary characters, with just a wee bit of characterisation and some minor arcs each to spice up the backdrop of her central romance. And so they finish the day at the inn for some drinks. At the end of the day they almost kiss, landing instead on a hug and an awkward moment, with some great chemistry followed by the worst, but like, we've all been there, right? Miles and Sophie both reflect and think about what it could be. They both obviously like each other, but they just keep hitting friction and are hesitant to put themselves out there. Having been told the story of a local warrior woman by Miles on their day out, Sophie decides to restart a tradition and host a Christmas party for the people of the estate. So they start organising it together. They go on a horse ride to get a Christmas tree for the ballroom in a nice wintry scene. And after a bit of an assist from the dog Hamish, they kiss and spend the night together. The gang starts to get the castle ready for the party. They really deck the halls, and I love a good Christmas spread. Like, this whole movie is bursting at the seams with Christmas decorations. It really looks great. But with all these sudden changes, and the dawning realisation that he is losing his castle, Miles gets mad and throws a tantrum, giving us our standard third act breakup. Like, I wonder if there will be a grand gesture to make up for this. Again, it's really by the numbers. Upset by this, Sophie decides to leave and not even attend the party she has planned. Miles shows up at her window on horseback to apologise. Grand gesture right on cue. There's horses, everything is Christmassy. To get her attention, he throws snowballs at her window. It's all a good scene. Miles admits that he's been a fool and that he's fallen for her, and convinces Sophie to come to the party. They dance and we get a nice high energy last scene full of heart. We get to Christmas Day, and they are all happy, in love, and all is good. A simple finish to stick the landing. The movie is nothing too outstanding, but it's simple and satisfying, and it definitely delivers on the Christmas at a Scottish castle aesthetic. It mostly keeps it light with some wee emotional moments here and there. Everything happens pretty much as expected for the genre, but without feeling forced. Though a few of the story beats did feel a little rushed. The dialogue is clever, and the performances are charming and believable. Brooke Shields and Carrie Elways have great chemistry. The Knitters of Dunbar and the Duke's sidekick all gave lovely performances too. And a special mention to a wee dog named Hamish, our furry little Cupid.
Hamish.
Oh, my goodness.
No,
Okay.
no.
Hi.
Never seen him like this. Have you meat in your pocket?
So it's a nice, charming Christmas romance, a lovely wee story. But let's talk about the real stories, starting with our main setting. Number 1. The Castle. The castle in the movie is Dun Dunbar Castle. The real location is Dalmeny House, a mansion located on the Rosebery estate near Queensferry, on the banks of the Firth of Forth. It was built in 1817 to provide a more comfortable home for the Rosebery family, and has served as the seat of their house ever since. It is currently home to the Earl of Rosebery. Some of the scenes are also filmed at the former ancestral residence. The ballroom, which Miles describes as the older part of the castle, is actually Barnbougle Castle, also located on the Dalmeny estate.
Come on, there's more.
Built in the 13th century, Barnbougle Castle is a historic tower house. Number 2. The Duke. In the movie we have Miles, the 12th Duke of Dunbar.
Book the wedding.
His real-life counterpart is Neil Archibald Primrose, the 7th Earl of Rosebery and the 3rd Earl of Midlothian. When I met him, my impression was that he is the best kind of rich eccentric, the type of man to keep a business that's running at a loss, just so that his employees can keep their jobs during tough times. The current head of the house. But at 94 he's getting on in years, so the running of the estate has fallen to his son, Harry Ronald Neil Primrose, who holds the title of Lord Dalmeny. He is also the chairman of Sotheby's in the United Kingdom and spends his time between London and Scotland. Number 3. Saving the estate. In the movie, the estate is struggling and is in debt to the bank. In real life, while things are not so desperate, they have been doing lots to tighten the belt, to try and stay above water and preserve their estate. There is a working farm, there are properties for renters, businesses and holiday homes. And in recent years, they've been opening up the estate, with tours of the house, using the properties, including the castle, as venues for weddings, and of course, using the locations available on the estate for shooting a movie. But the biggest thing is the sale of their assets and art. In 2010, Sotheby's auctioned off Turner's Modern Rome, Campo Vicino, for $20 million, and another of his paintings, Rome from Mount Aventine, in 2014 for $30 million, to fund restoration work on Dalmeny House. And in 1977, Mentmore Towers, the Rothschild family home in Buckinghamshire, was sold as well, in hopes of assuring its preservation. Number 4. Sophie's grandfather. In the movie, her granddad was the estate's groundskeeper, which may seem like something of a contrivance for the plot's sake, but even though their staff is much smaller these days, there's still a handful of people who work for the Dalmeny estate. And my own great-grandfather was groundskeeper on the estate of Glamis Castle, the home of the Queen Mother, the mother of Queen Elizabeth II. Our family even still has a chair that was a gift to him from one of the young princesses, and it is every bit as beautiful and gaudy as you'd expect. Number 5. The estate. In the movie we have a village and farms on the estate with tenants under the Duke. In reality, we do have a farm with Highland cows and horses. There are properties for rent with tenants. There's a golf course which surrounds Dalmeny House. There's a beautiful coastal walk from Queensferry to Cramond that passes right through the golf course. And it really is a lovely part of the estate. It's a little surprising it wasn't featured more in the movie. My guess is they were trying to give the impression that the setting was out in a more remote part, whereas in reality it's just outside of Edinburgh. Like the first scene where Sophie gets a taxi from Edinburgh Airport to the estate, and they are driving through beautiful scenery, over bridges, along country roads. As a local, it looks like that taxi driver just got super lost. Number 6. The Village. The movie has the village of Dunbar, population 153. The real Dunbar is a small town of about 9,000, but it's a modern town. Like we used to go to the swimming pool there for its awesome water slide. What we see is a bit of Culross, a historic village across the Forth in Fife, with a population of around 400. Culross is considered Scotland's most complete surviving example of a village of the 17th century. And the movie village's main street, with the post office and phone box, was a set created on the Dalmeny home farm. Number 7. The Castle Inn. In the movie, Sophie stays at the Castle Inn. In reality, that is the estate's old laundry house, one of the buildings next to the farms. It's not an inn, but we did used to use the laundry house for party nights. Like if there was a barbecue on the estate, when it got late, that's where we would go to finish up the night with music and dancing. I've had some lovely nights at the laundry house. Number 8. The horses. In the movie, they are riding horses around the estate. In reality, it's more likely to be a Land Rover. But the Earl does like his horses. There's a statue on the front lawn outside Dalmeny House of a horse. King Tom, a winner of several races in his career, and a notably well-mannered stallion. And his dam Pocahontas was one of the most influential thoroughbreds of all time. King Tom led to generations of thoroughbred racehorses owned by the Roseberys. The statue at Dalmeny originally stood over the grave of King Tom at Mentmore Towers, but with the sale of the house and its contents in 1977, the statue was moved to Dalmeny, because they are very proud of this heritage. And they're still riding horses on the estate farm, although the horses in the movie were of course actors. There were 2 beautiful horses in their trailers, so I had to go over and say hello. When I saw them later in the movie, I was like, I can't believe they didn't say anything. Just modest, I guess. Number 9. Christmas at the Castle. In the movie, there is a tradition of throwing a Christmas party for the estate. In reality, while there is no specific tradition, it is a very normal thing for the Earl to throw a fancy soiree for the people of the estate and the people who work for him. Like the huge garden party when his company, Northern Light, actually turned a profit, the summer barbecues for the members of the golf club. I've even been to a Christmas ceilidh with the people of the estate, but not at the castle. We were at the laundry house again. Number 10. Falling in love with the Duke. In the movie, Miles and Sophie are both divorcees, and have been avoiding opening up to anyone new, and end the movie in a relationship. They don't get married, but it could well be heading that way. Maybe they are saving it for a sequel. In reality, Lord Dalmeny was single for years after divorcing his wife Caroline Daglish in 2014, and at the end of last year, got remarried in a ceremony at Barnbougle Castle to Harriet Clapham, an art advisor at Sotheby's where he is boss and where they met as co-workers. So it does happen, because that's life. So there's some true stories surrounding the beautiful Dalmeny estate featured in A Castle for Christmas. It's a wonderful place to have spent so much time throughout my childhood, and a beautiful place to visit if you're ever in Edinburgh. And hopefully it will stay in the good hands of the Rosebery family for many years to come. Somebody has to make sure that the tenants, the Highland cows, the horses, all have a home. But if there ever is a problem, maybe some beautiful American writer will pay us a visit and save the place. And the movie is a lovely wee watch. Well worth it if you're in the mood for a little bit of Scottish fiction and romance this Christmas. So, thanks for watching, and have a Merry Christmas. And yes, I am wearing the whole kilt get-up. I've even got my skiing do on. I'm very hot.